Hello, everybody. Hello, Monty. Monty is in chat. This is the week 4 preview, essentially. We're going to stick with that numbering scheme because that's how I've labeled the YouTube videos. And
you've been wrong for so long that you're just embracing it,
yep.
And I find it a little insane.
We're going to double down on the wrongness. So we're going to look at the results of week 3 for REL Division 9D and 9E. And then, look at upcoming matches and stuff for week 4. This is the schedule for the week that just happened in 9D. Sadly, this match hasn't been adminned yet, so it hasn't rolled. So we won't be able to necessarily look at everything. But this is Iron Master's team, and due to some unfortunate circumstances, he's likely dropping out. So this is just going to be a bot versus bot game.
And any development on his team doesn't really matter. So we can see all of the level ups, or at least all the SPP that teams have gained this week. So it'll be a bit better than last week.
First one is Average Rice Joes and Union United. Let's see, which ended up 2-1 for the Average Rice Joes over the Union United.
Wizards taking a game over Elven Union.
Still early. Lineman got an MVP, which is a little annoying. Skink got MVP, which is not perfect, but I mean, it's still fine. It was at least a leveled Skink, I guess.
Yeah, and it's getting close to level 2. You do want to cycle through them quickly, so it's not bad to get a couple to level 2 quickly, and a sidestep, even like a sidestep sure feet or a sidestep diving tackle, like you need those pieces.
Yep.
So it's not bad. You want it on Saurus, of course, but
12 armor breaks, 3 armor breaks. So Lizards out bashing the Elves a little bit, not unsurprising. They had the ball more often than the Elves did as well.
Yep.
Looks like it was a sort of basically your typical 2-1 grind, I would imagine, in that Lizards, the Elves have 3 passes and 1 touchdown, so I imagine they basically just scored at will, but then the Lizards held on to the ball for long enough with the other 2 drives that they could keep it at 2-1. Prevented the one
depending
turn.
on how those 5 removals went, Lizards could have had really serious control in one half. I mean, Elven Union down 5 players is pretty brutal. So
they took 3 KOs and 3 casualties, so at least 3 down, basically permanent for the rest, or permanent in terms of the game, I should say.
Yeah, 3 KOs and 2 injuries, but yes. Oh, unless they sustained. Yeah, they actually sustained a Kaz from dodging and GFIing. That's
yep,
right.
3 casualties sustained. Yeah.
Pretty good SPP for the Lizards. They got 15 out of it. It's a real nice game early on.
Then we have 3 bye weeks. I just want to see who the MVPs were. Armor Furnace got an MVP on a Chaos Warrior and a Beastman, which are...
The Beastman got a level. That's really nice. You can start building a killer or a ball carrier, which is really essential for early Chaos.
The SPP on the Chaos Warrior, who had 0, is really good as well.
Oh, and you got a cheeky Elves, got it on a lineman who leveled and a Blitzer who leveled. That's really great. You really want those Blitzer levels early.
Yeah, lineman is less useful, but if he rolls like doubles or something, it could be really good.
Whatever. High Elf linemen are...
They're still good.
Great.
Here goes nothing. Another bye week. Two Goblin MVPs. Both of them leveled. Or that one was already leveled?
No, because he would have had a skill, right?
Yeah. So Goblin levels, not trolls, not secret weapons. I don't care.
It's goblins. Who needs levels?
Yeah, well, they'll get the sidestep or something. We'll see when we get there. The next real match is the Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards and the Redeemed Dark Elves. 1-1 tie here. 10 armor breaks to 6 armor breaks. MVP both on a Blitzer, which is really nice, and MVP on a Saurus.
Yeah. So they both got levels out of that too. So neither of them are walking away from that too sad. Looks like the Dark Elves were in control most of the game. The Lizards had kind of a... Though interesting, they never had the ball in their own half. Some shenanigans must have happened there. The 0% occupation in their half. All of their ball possession was in their opponent's half. So something stupid happened in the first half of the game, or their half of the game. Well, and then in the opposing half, they did the 1-1 grind.
They only had 1 injury. They had 1 kill, interestingly enough. 1 kill inflicted and 1 injury inflicted. I feel like the Dark Elves were probably in possession of the ball, like probably in control of the game for most of it. And then the Lizard, they made a mistake or something, or the Lizards could capitalize on something.
Tosser saying he couldn't pick up the ball in his half.
Oh, there you go.
Lizards sometimes they're only agi 3 after all.
Only agi 3.
You don't want to burn rerolls early on when you don't have very many of them. So
yeah, so there you go. I guess that's what happened.
You don't have 3 rerolls yet.
Yeah, if you can't pick up the ball, you can't pick up the ball.
Balls are important.
Yep. At least MVPs went to good spots.
They did. Not even a terrible SPP game for either of them.
Nope.
They're both pretty happy with that. And then we have the Buff Get Bills.
Tie is special. Definitely better than a loss.
So this is how I expected your game of Rookie Orcs versus Wood Elves to go versus Monkey Chunks.
Went the other way.
2-0. Yeah, it certainly did. So he's got 14 armor breaks. What kind of Kaz? Oh, so 14 armor breaks, but only 3 KOs and 2 Kaz. Not ideal, but I guess that's about average.
And one of the Elves must have knocked themselves out on a GFI or a dodge or something because it's sustained 4.
Yeah. To be expected. You're a Wood Elf.
Yeah, 31% ball possession. Looks like, the Orcs tried to grind it up the field a little bit, and the Wood Elves managed to, cage break at some point and get it away, right?
Yep, and scored.
And then they scored on their own half and made it 2-0.
They didn't even have to pass, so it looks like they did some handoff shenanigans and then ran away with it.
Yeah,
they don't need to run very far to outrun Elves or Orcs rather. So.
No, not at all. On their own half, it would have been easy enough for them to score, and then on the Orcs half, with the 31% possession, I imagine the Orcs ground their way up the field until turn 6 or the equivalent in second half, and then the Elves managed to get it away and just leave.
Yeah,
make it
that's what I'd expect. Maybe we'll go back and look at one of these games. We've kind of missed out on the recap review. We'll have to do a little bit more of that.
Yeah.
Well, if we identify a good one in this, because we're not doing the double week this week, maybe we'll hop into one real quick and just look it out and see if there's any interesting moments.
Yeah, because no one is sending us any.
Cough.
So do you want to take a look at the teams?
I kind of want to shame them some more.
And see what has happened?
Sure, let's do that. Starting with Quick Draw's team.
Yep.
See him all the time on.
Yep, and this is the. No, I'm thinking of a different team.
This is the Elven Unity team. I believe they got a bye week this week.
Yes. They got a bye week. Oh
no, they played the Average Race Joes and they lost. Okay, so
right.
We're good. We're good at this game. It's fine.
We're really good. Yeah. As far as I know, he didn't get any levels, unfortunately. So this is basically the same as before. He had a lineman that got injured, and got MVP, and that lineman does not seem to exist anymore. So
I mean, no, because he's
blue.
Played it, so it could have cleared. It's Converge, I would imagine. So it's the guy with Wrestle.
No, it's Dudes.
Because it was leveled. Was it?
Dudes got an MVP.
No, Dudes is still there.
Is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought
he's got a Wrestle lineman. He's got a Blodge Step Blitzer. He's got a Block Tackle Blitzer. Pretty good. Good start. Dodge Catcher rather. He's starting to get that dodge.
Yep.
Sweet dodge going.
The Tackle Blitzer is nice, and the Blodge Blitzer is also good.
Yeah, and this is a pretty dodgy, it's a pretty dodgy division, so it makes sense to have the tackle. There's a High Elves, Dark Elves, Lizards, Goblins, Wood Elves.
And
a lot of dodge.
And the team he played were the Average Race Joes, the Lizardmen.
Good segue.
I'm good at this. Although, as far as I know, he didn't get any levels again. He's up to 1 Blocksaurus. 2 Saurus are an MVP from leveling, and 1 is a Kaz from leveling. So you're pretty close to getting a 2 or 3 Blocksaurus, which could be good.
Yeah, this is what almost always happens when you play Lizards. And he's doing really well. He's got 2 wins, 1 draw. But you get the 1 Saurus level, and you've got 2 skate levels. So you've got 2 sidestep stinks, maybe a diving tackle one if you want to be really interesting. But I don't like it that early. And you get a block one. Blocksaurus, rather. So,
and the Croxagore is only 2 SVP from a level as well.
That's
which
really
is
good.
Which is casualty, yeah.
Yeah, just punch things when it's safe to do so and pray for that guard. That early guard is really nice, so.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Let's see. Armor Furnace had a bye against Bombay Week. So where's Armor Furnace?
This is about what I expect. I I like going Mighty Blow first on the first level Beastman.
Oh, I went too far back.
Totally fine.
I need to get back into the league. Just a sec. I'm bad at this game.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah. I went too far back, so I lost out. Armor Furnace. There we go. Okay, continue.
Good. You've caught up. We got a block Chaos Warrior, a Mighty Blow Chaos Warrior, and a block Beastman. So he's probably going to be carrying on this block Beastman, I would imagine.
For now,
using
yeah.
him for Blitz too, but if you're going to make a Blitzer, I like going the Mighty Blow route first with Chaos, getting that quick development on one Beastman.
Yeah, you can go either. With so many Beastmen, they have to be specialized, kind of. Some people, like, you'll probably pick up one as you're, like, basically I find that people will want to go block first on almost all of them, or Mighty Blow if they or Claw if they dedicate themselves immediately to being a killer. But you really want somebody to roll plus Agi before you start devoting the like the sure hands and the big hand and the extra arms and all that kind of stuff. So like with so many Beastmen, they'll generally let a couple of them level and just pick up block because it's kind of universally useful. No matter what skill you go, and then whichever one happens to get Agi first starts to become the ball carrier is the thing that can happen. So
assuming you ever get Agi, some of us.
With 7 Beastmen.
Yeah, I mean it's not that unlikely, you know.
Yeah, somebody should get it at some point, and if it starts to really matter, then you can just pick one and hope. Let's see. Cheeky Elves had a bye week, so we can look at them. They had a lineman and a blitzer get the MVP.
They get a frenzy blitzer. That is fascinating.
Ooh, well, we'll have to look at that.
Ollie the pusher, it has frenzy, so he can push people better.
Perfect.
I love that you stuck with the theme.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
an interesting first level. I've never seen frenzy as a first pickup on a blitzer. That's for sure.
Well, he already has block. It's fine.
Yeah. What else would you get, right?
Dodge, maybe?
Oh.
Hey, whatever.
No, I mean, like, it's cool. I like
he did say in the Reddit post for last week that he's going a foul heavy team. So it's an extra chance to knock somebody down. It's an extra chance to foul. Like, look, he went wrestle first on both the linemen that isn't dirty player. Like, this team is entirely dedicated to stomping people who are on the ground.
And he's like, I'm going to foul these guys. Yeah.
That's so the frenzy is there to make it easier to knock people over. You get 2 chances at it now. He's got 2 guys with wrestle, and then some dirty player stomping.
Yeah, and I mean, you've got the surfer to get rid of even more bodies. He just like wants to pitch clear as high elves every single turn. If you roll doubles on Polly the Pusher, you probably would have taken Mighty Blow, I imagine. Yeah, he did say in the Reddit thread too. We were confused about the two throwers, but he mentioned in the comments afterwards that he took 2 throwers because he wants one of them to basically just be a reroll. So he's going to get leader on it. Yeah, he's going to get a quick leader on one of them. Hasn't done a great job of getting SPP on them yet.
Nope.
Unfortunately. He's got 1.
He'll get it eventually.
Yeah, I mean, 5 more passes and he's good to go.
Yeah, he wanted to keep just 2 rerolls, so like a thrower with leader, I guess, is, and then he can drop rerolls and that kind of stuff, right? If he has 2 throwers with leaders.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the plan. Cool.
Also 2-1 so far. Lots of 2-1 people.
See.
And then we have goblins.
Here goes nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the ones with the pending level ups. So they've got 2 pending level ups on goblins.
Yeah, they're both they're ones that got MVPs. So he hasn't done anything yet, and that's this division hasn't actually rolled, but he did get his admin wins. So he may not have, that happened just earlier, right? So unless they actually select their level ups in the last hour or so, they probably wouldn't have done them.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got 2 goblin level ups.
He's got
I don't even know how you develop goblins.
He's got grab on the fanatic.
Yeah, he had that last week though.
I know, I like it. Yeah, so sidestep is good. Plus Agi is really good if you can take it, or if you can get it.
On normals. Of course, on doubles, there's more interesting things to talk about, but
Yeah, well, sure. But on normals, like, if you can get plus Agi, it's great for landing. Sidestep is good, and you can also start to build them to be better one-turners with the throw, right? If you take, like, Sprint or Sure Feet, when you throw, then that becomes your thrown goblin.
Makes sense.
Yep. And then if you get doubles, you can do all kinds of stuff. Like, you know, a Blodge Goblin is super annoying. Mighty Blow Goblin.
You could do the there was the cage diving goblin in All Stars, which I think was horns wrestle plus strength horns wrestle.
I don't. They can't. These aren't Underworld goblins, so they can't get mutations.
I'm thinking of Underworld goblins, of course. Yes, with mutations. These aren't quite as interesting. You can't get sweet mutations.
We've got Las Vegas Lizards, who tied the Redeemed Dark Elves. So let's look at the Redeemed Dark Elves because they're first in the list. We commented on the assassin last week, and then he went and bought a second one.
He commented on the YouTube video being like new assassin. So.
Yes, thanks, Moya. You're making me happy. One of them has 3 SPP. Did he get a touchdown?
We can check.
He did.
Caught and he scored. Yeah. So there were some assassin
ball carriers.
Yep.
I like it. Lineman with kick, lineman with tackle, and a blitzer with tackle, which makes sense, especially with how many elves are on this division. Or there's elves, there's goblins, there's lizards, and there's elves. I was going to say elves again, but I've already said elves. But there's a lot of dodge in this division, so tackle totally makes sense.
He bought 3 assassins? Is that what you're trying to tell me, Monty? Oh yes. So he killed Mercutial, so now it's Mercutial's cousin.
Good. I'm glad he has
he is
third
dedicated
assassin.
To the stab.
Sure, I like it, man. Why not? We've never had like a serious player assassin, as far as I know. Like, there's been legends of like the characters that you'd expect, like Skaven Blitzers or like Chaos Warriors and Gutter Runners and that kind of stuff. But I want to see a legend assassin. I don't know. I don't even know how to level assassins. I have no idea.
You get doubles and you get multi-block. Jump up, dodge probably. Can you take shadowing again? Because I think that's the key to building a good assassin is taking shadowing twice.
Taking shadowing a second time. And the Las Vegas
obviously pro.
100%
of the time.
It's true.
Can you pro a stabber?
No, I don't know.
I don't think you can pro because you can't pro armor rolls, which is what this effectively is. So
yeah. You could pro you can't. You can't pro the shadowing either because it's a single d6 that you can roll.
I don't know. I don't know anything about assassins because no one fucking uses them.
I love it though. I really love it.
Yeah. Then we've got the Las Vegas Gizzards who have 1 win, 1 draw, 1 loss.
They drew this week against the Dark Elves.
They're doing really well. They've got the plus movement skink. So they've got the block source, which is predictable. They've got 2 source that are within a CAS of leveling, which is nice. 1 that's MVP ready. And
there's only 2 that are pretty low.
A plus movement skink with sprint and sure feet needs 1 push on a 1 turn, so it becomes significantly easier to do it. I mean, you don't even need a push; you just need a knockdown. So plus movement is well on its way to being a really wonderful natural 1-turner, or not quite natural, but as close as you can get.
Skinks are better than the last lizard team that we saw, I think, because that movement skink is going to be good. But and the Saurus are very close to leveling. It's basically the same as the last team, although this one has more CAS ready players than MVP ready players, like the last one did.
Yeah, and it's got less skink SPP. It's only 8. Like
but no Crocs
died
SPP.
Or well, Crocs. Look, man, you do what you can, but the Crocs levels when he wants to.
Yeah,
Mine died, and I've just resigned myself to having a rookie Crocs for the rest of the minors season. Like he's never coming back. Clemando 2 is a shadow of his former fucking self.
You should have gone with Clemando Jr., son of Clemando.
Don't tell me how to run my team, bitch. I'll have it.
He's zero SPP, though, instead of 4, so he's going to be a bit for guard, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, like, you hurt for that guard eventually. Right now, it doesn't matter. I mean, you definitely outstrength everyone, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I lost my Crocs, and then the next game I played against with a rookie Crocs, mine boneheaded 50% of the time, while the opponent boneheaded 0 out of 14.
Yeah, he made 14.
14 bonehead rolls.
Yeah, so we had Buff Get Bills and foul targets. Buff Get Bills lost 0-2, so we'll take a look at Buff Get Bills. The Orcos, coached by Half Baked.
They picked up a black orc.
That's really good.
Usually going block on the black orc means you're going to go block heavy first.
Yep, and that's totally fine.
Block guard as well as the other strategy people do sometimes. So this gives you reliability first as opposed to guard first.
It's just nice that he has the level up early, really. Is that like they're hard to level, so having one leveled this early is good.
Yep.
And then there's another one that's really close, yeah.
Got Tackle Blitzer, which makes a lot of sense in this division. He's got a Dodge Blitzer, so someone who rolled doubles in their first.
Yeah, we talked about the Dodge one last week.
I always want to talk about it. Blodge Orc Blitzers are perfect ball carriers. So.
Yeah, and he has the thrower for now, and he can keep the thrower essentially. He can do with the one SPP on the thrower. I bet you he did exactly what I imagine, in that he picked up the ball with the thrower and then used the thrower to just pass it to the blitzer.
Let's see, how many passes has he made?
He has
one.
Yep, and like we mentioned in the results overview, he likely tried to grind up the field and then got the ball taken away from him about turn 6 or so. So there was the one pass. He walked up the field, got it taken away. Elves scored. Elf half. Elves scored 2-0.
Yep, that's pretty standard for playing as orcs. You either break the elves or they just take the ball away from you like meanies.
Speaking of elves, foul targets, coached by Jeff7733.
Ooh, this is a gross team.
Oh, this is another reason why the sure hands on the thrower would be good, is that you have a strip ball war dancer.
And a plus agi war dancer, who is like well on his way to just being a nonsense machine.
Yeah. And yeah, there you go. Yeah, we have Yacind in the making, I guess. No, not quite. You can't say that this early.
Was like what, like plus agi, plus movement, like
yeah,
utter nonsense.
You can't say that now. Oh, this is the team that had to rename their players, right? Because they were all just named Target, and when you do like admin wins,
it's against REBBL rules. Yeah.
Well, it's because it makes the admin wins really difficult to assign SPP correctly.
Yes, you have to do it. Well, I mean, like, it doesn't matter for admin wins. It matters for anything where you need to do something custom to a particular character, because you can't easily distinguish between characters with the same name.
Yeah, you can't select them. You have to like type in the name or whatever, and then if it's just
really
if it's all the same.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's super good start.
Spin League a lot, so
yeah,
that's cool.
Super good start. Like the 2 levels you have so far are on War Dancers, and you are a pass away from a level on 1, 2, 3, 4 guys. And it's very easy to do passes with Agi 3. Like, if you're already winning, or Agi 4, if you're already winning, just start hucking the ball around and get 3 level ups.
Yeah, exactly. And he's running with no bank, but he's otherwise pretty well set up. He's got 3 rerolls, 1 Apo. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him pick up a tree at some point. Maybe not first.
You don't need to.
Eventually you want to. Like, I forget what the odds are, but it like reduces attrition on the team significantly just having that roadblock there. Picking up another catcher is also probably a good idea at some point.
I don't know why, but I don't really see Wood Elf throwers used very often, even though they can be really good. Like, their skills look really good, but you don't see them very often, and I'm not sure why.
We should ask Squiggy. Clearly, we're just not enough in the know.
I'm not enough in the know about Wood Elves for sure. This is a really good start, and you've got SPP on the characters that matter most so far: the War Dancers and the catcher. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1160 and it's terrifying. Like, that's
201.
Like how are the 2 lizards in this division ever going to beat that team? They don't have sure hands. They've got 2 strength. Like,
they won't.
What ends up happening? You cage up, you move up. When the War Dancer feels like it, he marks up your cage. He jumps in, he knocks your ball away and takes it. Like,
yeah, the only thing this team needs is a guard lineman.
Even then, like, if you just mark up the sides of the cage, it's a 2-die with strip ball, and you have block. On the skinks, yeah. On stuff that isn't lizards, you need the guard would make it way easier. So like if one of these line in, he's got 3 chances with 3 5 SPP linemen to roll a double. And it's pretty good. It's a 1 in 6, so it's a 50% chance there getting a guard lineman. Yeah, you enjoy them while they exist, and then they go splat eventually. So that's the entire division.
Yeah, they only start with pass, and I guess they're pretty expensive compared to linemen, so it's not really that worth it, I guess, to pick them up over just using like a lineman or a War Dancer or whatever to throw the ball around.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, why do you need starting skills when you're at G4, right?
I mean, pass is a free reroll, I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't remember how much they cost. But if I recall correctly, it makes them too expensive to be worth it.
Yep.
Anyway, we can look at
Let's
the
look at the
yeah.
leaderboard. Yeah. So it's a lot of 2-1, 2-1 records, like I said. So the average rights shows Cheeky Elves, Redeemed Dark Elves, and Armor Furnace all have 2 wins, 1 draw.
Yeah, there's been a lot of
the Wood Elves have 2 win, 1 loss, and then it's kind of a smattering of the other teams. So it's no one's division yet. Certainly, no one's emerging as the clear winner.
Iron Master's team is going to drop, or actually it'll stay where he is, but he'll likely get a draw there because of the admin thing. So he'll be 1, 2, and 0. So that won't really change the leaderboards, but I thought I'd point that out. Yeah, Morley made a good point. So the throwers they do have passing access, I guess, so they can make the long, silly pass plays like Pro Elves, I guess, a little bit more likely, and you can kind of change how you play rather than doing the handoff runs. You can do long passes if you'd like.
Isn't Long Bong Silver a Wood Elf? I forget.
Yes, yeah, I think so.
I believe he is a Wood Elf thrower. So if he can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, so we got, like you said, we got 4 teams vying for first currently. I wonder if any of those play this week.
Let's find out. Let's do our jobs, Ben.
Yep. So we've got a bye week versus a bye week. Good. A bye week versus a bye week. Good. Then we have Union United and the Redeemed Dark Elves. So the Redeemed Dark Elves are one of the top ones. Union United is not.
That's going to be a game of a lot of elven nonsense. Dark Elves are pretty good against other elves. They can be outrun, but they have the skills to kind of outbash them usually.
Well, the other good thing is a team full of armor 7 and 2 assassins with stab.
It's true. The assassins better do work. I kind of want to watch that game. We should go back and check it up the replay at some point.
Yeah, unfortunately, the player that you really want to target with the stab is the Blodge player, but he is an armor 8, so it's a little bit less likely. Still possible, I guess, but not as consistent. The Dark Elves have like mostly the speed to keep up with the Pro Elves, and other than the Blitzers, the Pro Elves don't really have any way to deal with all of the Blitzer block on the Dark Elves. So
they can't outrun them by very much. I mean, they have 2. No, I mean they can't outrun them at all. In fact, Wood Elves or Dark Elves are faster than
plus shadowing, and the Elven Union, like he's gonna have to rely really hard on the Blitzers to accomplish things. And I don't know if they'll be able to. So I think I think my prediction is going to be in favor of Moya and the Redeemed Dark Elves for that one.
Only because I want to see that sweet stab play.
Stab.
Pull up the next one. I'm going to stay on the team page so I can easily look things up.
Yep. Next will be Yeti to conquer and foul targets. So foul targets will get a bye there.
Yep.
Then we have Average Rice Joes and Buffkit Bills.
So the Buffkit Bills are the Orcs that have had a bit of a rough go at it, and the Average Rice Joes are the Lizard leaders. So, in general, I actually like the matchup as Orcs versus Lizards. You can
like as Lizards, you mean,
or
as Orcs?
As Orcs. I think Orcs have the skills early on to deal with Lizards. They've got the Blitzers to go skink hunting, and they've got more or less the strength to keep up with the Saurus. Like they have a bit of a tough time. 6 strength 4 players versus 4 plus the Crocs. Like you feel that, but even if you can like tie most of them up with your superior skills and then go like send a Blitzer or 2 skink hunting, you can do a lot of work.
He has a tackle as well. I mean, it's only
got tackle and block, right? So that turns any 2 die is a 75% knockdown. So 75% knockdown on armor 7's stunty is going to remove some skinks eventually.
Yeah, the only thing the Lizards have going for them is this sort of oppressive Saurus strength and the skink speed. Like the orcs are not that fast. Like the Blitzers are your fastest player at 6.
Yeah, so in my experience playing Orcs, which God knows in the college division I did a lot, you defend by creating a wall of lizard flesh that the Orcs end up getting tied up into, and it just becomes a bash fest to see who can like break armor 9 faster. And you can usually tie up the Orcs long enough on defense. On offense, it's all about making them overcommit to a side and then pulling up the skinks on the other, and like abusing that movement 8 and screening off with Saurus or screening off with skinks. So it can really come down to skill.
Yep. So it's hard to say which way that could go, and I don't know. Like I don't have a good answer for you. Based on, and the other thing is the Orcs have a slightly worse record currently, but that's also because they've had to play Elves and stuff, which they're less good at early on. That's a hard one to say. I think I want to go with Orcs if they can utilize the block and tackle well, but it's I would not be surprised if the Lizards won. But if I was absolutely forced to pick one, I think I'd want to go with Orcs.
Yeah, I don't know. If I was playing both of those teams, I would rather play the Orcs. But who knows? It's hard to call, definitely.
I like how this week has the 4 like bye weeks are just playing each other. It's makes it nice.
Well, there are 5 bye weeks now.
Yeah,
unfortunately. But
next we have,
at least it kind of trims it out a little bit.
Armor Furnace and the Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards.
So the Las Vegas Lizard Gizzards are the mixed result team. It's Leazar.
Yep, and it's the one with the movement 9 skink.
Yeah, the movement 9 skink and the Blocksaurus versus the Chaos team that's doing really well. Early on, I give this matchup to Lizards 100%.
You say both that
teams early on.
You say that, but the Chaos team has been playing skillless Chaos for 3 games and hasn't lost yet. So
yeah, I mean, clearly, like based on, I'm talking about like race matchup. Chaos, early Chaos are a control team, and Lizards are a better control team out of the box. Clearly, Slow is playing a really, really strong early Chaos. He's done really, really well. He hasn't given up a loss yet. And he's got that Mighty Blow, which does help with the removals. But without block, it's not likely to work on skinks. That's a 1 in 6 on any dice. So not really good odds, even on a 2 die or a 3 die, for that matter. So yeah, I think it's starting to tip more into the Chaos favor. The Beastman with block is nice because with that extra movement, you can go skink hunting, and with 1 assist, that's a 3 die on a blitz. 3 die with block is much more likely to take down a skink than anything else. So
yeah, I think it's hard.
I think based on record, I would probably give it to Chaos. The coach has shown himself to be pretty. I mean, if you're like doing that well with early Chaos, like something is going right. How many of them have been bye weeks?
Yeah, that's the other thing. One of them was a bye week. One of them was against Goblins, and then he tied against the other Lizard team.
Yeah.
And the Lizard team that he's playing have a tie against Dark Elves, a loss to the other Lizard team, and a bye week. So
it'll be an interesting match.
Yeah,
I think I'd give it to the Chaos, but not by a lot.
I mean, I think I abstain.
Abstain? Wow.
I don't know if I'm allowed to do that.
You're not. We also need
Chaos.
to start keeping track of how we're calling these, because we need to like look back and realize how well we did.
Yeah, we should pay attention to that for next week.
Right. I'll start taking notes. I guess I've got a notebook next to me. Why not?
We should do that.
All professional, like.
Yeah. And then we have the cheeky elves, and here goes nothing. Yeah, like I don't know. I think I want to give that to Lizards. So let's go with that one will be a 50-50, I suppose.
Okay, so for Union United versus the Redeemed Dark Elves,
we said Elves. We said the Dark Elves. And then we said Orcs for Average Race Joes and Buff Get Bills, but not by much. Like we wouldn't be surprised if the Lizards won. And then it was 50-50 on the Armor Furnace versus Las Vegas Lizards.
No, I said fucking Chaos.
Yeah, and I said Lizards.
Yeah, but I'm more important than you are.
Oh, okay, sure.
Well, I'll write that I said one thing and you said the other for
okay.
A
head-to-head competition. Okay, and then we have cheeky elves and heroes nothing.
I do like that this cheeky bastard is just calling you Mittens. I feel like it's a little diminutive.
That's fine. Mittens is weird. Like most people, if they shorten Steak Mittens, they shorten it to Steak.
I just call you Steak if I don't call you Ben.
But Mittens is a thing because there's another person who frequents the same Twitch chats as I do that goes by Kittens with Mittens. So it gets called out a lot.
You made that sound a little illicit. You're like those Twitch chats.
Yeah, we frequent the same Twitch chats.
Not nothing weird or anything, guys. Don't worry.
No, we watch similar like Blood Bowl streamers and stuff, and we often end up in the same chats. So just saying Mittens refers to both people. Anyway, cheeky elves and here is nothing. So cheeky elves are the high elves with the foul heavy high elves.
The frenzy blitzer,
yeah, which I think is actually going to help a lot because he's playing goblins who are all like dodge, and now he has wrestle and like block and frenzy on a bunch of people.
You don't want to foul goblins, but if you wrestle,
you certainly
wrestle the fanatic. It takes an auto injury, right?
So
there's that. Frenzy is kind of like budget block in that sense. Like more dice means more chances.
I mean, he also the frenzy player has block.
That's true.
So it's not really budget. It's just two chances to knock down the goblins, which could be good when they're dodge. Right, you need the power, the both down, and then if you get the 50%, like three of the dice outcomes are just pushes in that case. It's generally going to be a 2-die block, but three of the 6 dice outcomes for a single dice are just pushes in the case of hitting a dodge player and you don't have tackle. So having the block and the frenzy makes it more likely to knock them over. I think I want to give this one to the elves as long as he doesn't go too foul heavy and gets his expensive lineman sent off at the cost of goblins. Which is not smart, but fouling like the trolls could do a thing, I guess. But armor 9, you'd have to get a good assist.
Yeah, I mean, even like the loony, and I mean, you'd foul the loony if it didn't kill itself simply because you want to get rid of it, not because it's particularly valuable.
Yeah, that's true.
Valuable. The trolls are definitely valuable.
The loony is really valuable in that you have block and dodge players. He doesn't have any dodge, does he? No, not yet. He has block players.
So what we'll do to make this as transparent as possible is when we post the YouTube videos, in the description we'll declare what our predictions are. And
okay, well then you'll have to send them to me later.
I of course will.
The other thing is the cheeky elves haven't actually really played a game yet, like a real game. Sadly. Bling. Thanks to the follow.
So we have no idea what they're like.
Yeah.
Gypsy Prince. I haven't seen him around, so we'll see.
Thanks for the follow, Spock. Yeah, so we'll see. I want to give it to the elves, but we haven't actually really seen what they're capable of in any sort of matches yet. And I mean, goblins are goblins, but so I want to give it to the elves, but they could get goblined. That's always a thing that happens.
So do you want to pick a game and really quickly flip through some of the highlights of it?
Well, if there's a game that you think you want to take a look at, we'd have to.
Let me see. Yeah, I have to decide.
And we don't know where the highlights are, so we're gonna have to skip through like pretty quick and.
Yeah, maybe it's not worth doing right now. We'll have to do a bit more planning.
If people send us some stuff, we can look at it. But now that we're slightly back to a more regular schedule, we should be able to like look through the games between now and next week as they get played, and maybe point out some stuff. We don't really have time to look through all of them, but so it's going to be hard for us to do that. But if we find something, we can show it.
Yeah, sure. I mean, as the division develops, it's more interesting to like pick out these games. Like early on, it's just a bunch of rookies playing each other. So yeah, and
once we get a little bit farther in as well, and the matches start to matter more for like playoff standings, we can always point out critical moments in those too. But yeah, once again, please feel free to send us my match versus this person this week was really exciting, and then we can look at it. Just Discord is fine. Send us a message.
Yeah, exactly.
Or if you want to PM us when you're going to start, when your games are planned to happen, we can do our best to have them streamed by us, right, and commentated on and stuff. It depends on the time zones. Obviously, we're both on the East Coast. I know this is Americas, but if you guys are like West Coast and play on West Coast times, I might be at work or something, and there's not really anything you can do.
Yeah, you are sometimes 4 hours off of West Coast, so.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to 9E. This will be the super smooth segue for your YouTube clip.
We could, I guess.
I have to get more beer this week because I prepared this time and had 2 beers.
Yay! So this is the week 3 results.
Like an adult.
Now there are bye weeks.
Is your mic muted, or are you just forgetting to talk?
No, it's not muted. Hello. Hello. Can you not hear me? It's registering on. It's registering on stream. Hello?
Hi.
It was just a Discord thing because my XSplit was still picking up the mic, so.
Okay.
It was just a Discord thing being weird. So, there you go.
We're back.
I mean, I never really left, I guess, but you thought I was gone.
I mean, I didn't leave either. I was here making jokes about beer. I don't know.
Yep. It was just Discord that went funny.
So a bit slanderous, you know. I'm gonna sue you.
You're apparently deaf. Okay, so Friendship is Massacre beat Bloodstain 2-0. Apparently, according to Morality, the Goblin team did not pull off a whole lot of shenanigans, sadly.
It can be hard to pull off shenanigans as goblins.
They got 2 expulsions, which I guess that's just the secret weapons, I would imagine. Yeah. 5 armor breaks. The Looney got the Looney got MVP, which is cool. And it looks like he also had an injury, but it might have just been badly hurt or something, because he still seems to exist.
I think that's the second time, morally, that we've seen them pick up no bribes, and I feel
Ripper is really good, but I think you want bribes.
You need the bribes. I mean, like Ripper is great, but without bribes, you lose half your.
Yeah,
you lose the only important players you have, right? So.
Yeah, that was just a massacre. Friendship is massacre. 6% ball. Yeah, 6% ball possession. Took 3 casualties and a KO. Friendship is Massacre took 0.
So, amusingly, Friendship is Massacre only caused 1 injury, so that means most of them were self-inflicted.
That's funny. Yeah, but a lot more SPP and Friendship is Massacre. Only the MVP for the Goblins. Did not go well for Goblins, sadly. I think they should have probably gotten bribes, especially versus Undead. Ripper is good to make it your front line like trolls versus the undead, and undead does have strength, but over the long run you're just going to lose to the in the long run you're going to get outbashed by the undead for sure.
I mean, particularly a team like undead versus goblins is a pretty brutal matchup for the goblins, but
zombie leveled. I'm excited to see what that zombie picked up. Is it dirty player? Is it kick? Did he get fired? Who knows?
It's probably dirty player.
Gods of Metal and Broken Boys.
Ooh, a Tomb Guardian MVP that causes a level up, and a Blitzer that causes a level up. Very good.
Yeah.
MVPs for both of those players.
The Khemri won again. Players. The Khemri have been doing well. They said something. Oh right, yes, I remember. We commented on the double throw raw, and apparently the second one was an accident. He meant to buy another skeleton, but accidentally bought a throw raw.
The one with the catcher's mitt.
Yeah.
It's not a normal skeleton.
That's really good. The Tomb Guardian levels. I think he already had a Tomb Guardian level 2, though, didn't he? We'll have to look.
We'll find out in a moment. But
yeah, we'll have to look. If I recall correctly, he already had one. So that's early Tomb Guardian levels, which is super good.
Yep.
Looks like he got some casualties or something at 2 injuries inflicted. So there's some SPP there.
Kind of looks like the Khemri had pretty nice dice compared to the humans. The humans' block dice in particular were kind of bad.
I want to see that pickup. 50% pickup rolls is kind of exactly what you expect. Perfect. Um,
And even 50% regeneration.
that doesn't exist. I don't believe it.
I know, it's not a real skill. I've never seen it work.
I've never seen it work for me either.
Next up is Komodo Killers and Chaos Corp, which looks like it was a... Oh, Chaos Corp is a
concede team.
Never mind.
We have the CR Boys, Giant Stags, and the Nagaron Nut Punchers.
Oh, so this is Wood Elves versus Dark Elves. 3-1 for the Wood Elves.
Yeah, Wood Elves can
outspeed go either
them.
way, really. The Nagaron Nut Punchers had 14 armor breaks. How many injuries? Wow, 14 armor breaks, 0 KOs, 2 injuries. That's pretty brutal.
Yeah, no Mighty Blow makes it harder.
Yeah, but the Wood Elves got pretty lucky on their injury rolls, even considering no Mighty Blow.
Yeah, they had the ball more often. Although, as totally expected in an elf versus elf game, the ball was held for 80% of the game, and only 20% of it was actually on the ground. Couple passes, couple on either side. I feel like just the War Dancers managed to do a thing. Essentially, is all I can imagine.
Yeah, probably. MVP on a injured lineman kind of sucks.
Ooh.
MVP on a blitzer is great, but he was already leveled beforehand.
The Dark Elves had some rough dice. They had They had a lot of ones, which in an elf versus elf game, when both of you are just chucking dice at each other, can be the difference.
The Wood Elves got 32 ones. Like, everything else is literally irrelevant, but the 32 ones is kind of bad.
Yeah, although
they failed 50% of their leaps. They failed 66% of their passes, but they only made 3. Wow, they failed 66% of their GFIs. That sounds kind of brutal. 75% of their dodges. Wow. Yeah.
The Dark Elves only made 50% of their pickups and their AG4.
Jesus. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Dark Elves had some pretty bad blocking dice, especially where POWs are concerned. Yeah, they rolled a lot of ones. Jesus.
Yeah. Well, that can be definitely a factor when it's elf versus elf and you're both chucking dice at each other. It looks like the Wood Elves chucked dice better.
Yeah, I mean, and that's kind of fascinating because it looks like the Dark Elves made the Wood Elves roll more dice.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Dark Elves were rolled poorly, so it didn't work out for them. Usually making an elf team roll more dice means you win on average, but you never know.
Yeah.
Next up, that's a bye. Then we have One Cheese versus Archangel's Will, which was a 3-3 tie.
Wood Elves versus Skaven, so there you go.
There is a Wood Elf catcher with 27 SPP.
Yeah, well, he's movement 9.
So he can just score whenever he wants to. And
there's also, turns out, when you have movement 9 gutter runners, they can score whenever they want to.
Yep.
So it's
Nameless got 11 SPP in that game.
Yeah.
How many touchdowns has he scored? I want to see.
Well, 2. He would have scored 2 that game.
Well, I don't even mean that game, it is period. So he scored 4 touchdowns, and he's run 144 yards.
Yeah, this is just like catcher picks up the ball, scores in 2 turns. Rat picks up the ball, picks up the ball, scores in 2 turns. Repeat. Game over. 3-3. Yeah. 4 armor breaks versus 6 armor breaks. That's like 1 blitz a turn.
Yeah, they
no blocks
did like
ever.
30 blocks, like not a lot of blocks really.
Yeah, one injury, 2 KOs.
Yeah. It's like they basically just didn't play each other. They just
they rolled some dice at each other, picked up the ball, scored. Your turn to roll dice to see if you get it. Okay. Yeah. Your turn.
The Rats did much better with their SPP though. They got 12. 15,
yeah, the Rats actually
17.
got an injury, whereas the Rats got an injury and they made a pass, whereas the Wood Elves made no passes. And they spread out their touchdowns, presumably.
Yeah, like getting that catcher leveled up is really nice, but spreading out the SPP, especially on
depends on the gutter runners. Yeah,
it's really good. I'll be right back.
Okay, and I will look at Does Not Nakas versus the Chew Toys, which ended up 1-1. Orcs and Undead again. Or, I mean, potentially Necro, I guess. Not sure. I think they're Necro. Yeah, they're Necro. There we go. Ended up 1-1. MVP on a zombie, which sucks a little bit. MVP on a lineman, which sucks a little bit. But this guy is going to get dirty player, and this is one step closer to guard or to block or something. I'm surprised for the armor breaks. I suppose the werewolf probably doesn't have anything yet, and therefore it's going to be a little harder to make those claw blocks on the armor 9 orcs, or harder than you'd like because you don't have block or like mighty blow or anything like that yet. Ended up 1-1. One pass. They like 43% ball possession, 43% ball possession. That seems so much to me like half one. Orcs picked up the ball, scored on turn 8. Half 2, Undead picked up the ball, scored on 16, or reverse. While they just punched the crap out of each other. 50 blocks, 47 blocks, 1 injury, 2 injuries. That's just going to be a grind fest until someone can pop free and score on like late turns in both halves, and you end up 1-1. Is all I imagine that happened. Bone Diddley got 7 SPP, which is the zombie, right? So he must have gotten an injury, unfortunately. And Bark, which I guess is a werewolf, got a touchdown, which is good because you want to level them up. And then got a couple a touchdown and a pass, and a couple injuries on some orcs. And we'll take a look at what happened to them in a second. As we'll drop that out. And yep, that's all those results so far. So we had Friendship is Massacre and Bloodstain was the first game. So Bloodstain was the Goblin team that lost. Picked up Ripper to play instead of Bribes, but he got the MVP on the Looney. Unfortunately, that Looney had not any SPP from previous and has accomplished nothing. The Fanatic has also gotten an MVP, but has accomplished not enough to get any SPP. This Troll has a Kaz, so he's MVP ready, but with so many Goblins, that's a 2 in 14, a 1 in 7 of getting an MVP on a Troll, and then even in this case, it's a 1 in 14 because you need it specifically on that Troll.
Oh, hi, I'm back.
So that's I'm looking at the Goblins. So that's a bit rough and no levels, not much to talk about, I guess. But it means that he'll be down SPP for his next, or down TV for his next game, and maybe he can get Bribes and Ripper instead of
did
just
the final match and Archangel's team?
No, I haven't looked at Archangels. I'm going by the schedule.
Okay.
So Bloodstain and Chaos Corp, and I looked at Bloodstain. So now I'm going to look at Chaos Corp.
Chaos Corp are a bye.
Oh, they're a bye. They're a bye. Wait.
Yeah.
No, that's next week. Bloodstain and Friendship is Massacre. Sorry.
There we go. That makes more sense.
Yes, that's the Undead team.
They are doing quite well. Coached by Captain Bubsby.
Yeah.
They've got a guard mummy, a plus movement mummy, a plus agi ghoul, so a blodge agi 4 ghoul.
Yeah,
Pretty
as
great.
Morley is in chat, yeah, and they're talking about the agi 4 blodge ghoul and how that's really gross. That's so gross.
Look, their leveled zombie is a dirty player.
Called it.
Yep, this is the team with the 3 ghouls.
Yeah,
we were commenting on 3 ghouls being a bit unusual, but he's clearly making it work.
Yep. He wasn't. Apparently, he said he wasn't really sure why he got the 3rd ghoul. And he has an extra zombie. He killed a Dark Elf Blitzer who failed a dodge and died. Because there was a zombie that was named like something weird that wasn't part of the like the Friendship is Massacre theme.
Is it Mitchellitis?
I'm not sure.
I wouldn't be able to identify which are My Little Pony names and which are, other things. So
Yeah, me either. And the Mummy with plus movement we talked about last time pretty extensively about how good it is, and how good it will be.
I called it. It is Mitchellitis.
Yeah. But that ghoul is going to score so many touchdowns for you. Next, you probably pick up like Sure Hands, and then hope you get like plus movement, I guess.
Sure Hands, Sidestep is still really good.
Yeah, that's true. And he's going to score a lot.
From there, you could go into like the Sure Feet Sprint sort of side of things, but if he lives that long, you're already pretty lucky, to be honest.
Yeah, Nuffle will. Well, see, you say Nuffle will take that goal from you, but he's blodged now. Like as long as you protect him pretty well.
Nuffle took my blodge strength 4 ghoul. Anything can happen.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
On a 1 die,
he's gonna get stabbed. wrong division, unfortunately. He can't get stabbed.
No, in the playoffs, he's gonna get stabbed to death.
Yeah,
and we're gonna feel like prophets.
And then we have Gods of Metal lost 0-2 to the Broken Boys. So we can look at Gods of Metal, the human team. They had a Blitzer that leveled up. Oh yeah, although they are looking a little broken. In that they have that's a movement busted Blitzer, which really sucks.
And an agi busted catcher. Those are both dead.
Yeah, they're especially since they're both 0 SPP. I mean, like you can't afford to replace both of them now.
Can't afford to replace either.
You can replace the catcher, but I don't know if I would.
You'd save for the Blitzer.
Yeah, the Blitzers are like the backbone of the human team. Like you don't need to fire them now, I guess, because you're not going to have their TV counted against you for your next game anyway.
Yeah, but you're gonna hire the
you'll hire the Blitzer
next game.
You'll hire the Blitzer first, but wait to see what your winnings are to see what if you can.
You'd never field an agi 2 catcher. That's a useless catcher, right?
No, I know, but I wouldn't fire them until you see what your winnings are for the next game.
I would. Like, there's no scenario in which you would do anything other than buy a Blitzer, so
I suppose
it doesn't really matter, but. They would be glue. If I appoed into dead, I'd pick dead. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, for the agi 2 catcher for sure.
Yeah.
The Blitzer, like you could make an argument for keeping the Blitzer around, and just replacing the catcher instantly. If you really wanted to, if you were dedicated to having 2 catchers, you could make that argument because a movement 6 Blitzer isn't totally useless, whereas a movement 2 catcher is totally useless.
Yeah, so you could definitely play a game with a movement busted Blitzer and it wouldn't be the end of the world, but
yeah, but then you're kind of banking on making sure that you get enough money within 2 games to replace both of them.
Which would be banking on making
80K in 2 games.
80K. It's not unlikely. But
that's average.
Yeah, well, no, it's a little below average.
Yeah,
because minimum is 20K, right? It's 20 to 70, I think you make. I'd have to look it up, but I think it's 20 to 70, so the average would be 3.5 times,
Yeah, so it's so you could make an argument for that if you were dedicated to playing with 2 catchers, but you don't need to be dedicated to playing with 2 catchers. So I mean, it totally comes up to what McSkippy feels like, I guess. But you could definitely make an argument for that, I think. And they played the Broken Boys, which I cannot find. They're on the second page. Yeah, the Khemri. This is the one with the Tomb Guardians. Nope, I thought there was a Tomb Guardian level, but maybe I think I was thinking of Friendship is Massacre with the leveled mummies, because they look so similar. But the Tomb Guardian got his MVP and now has Mighty Blow, which is awesome because that'll accelerate his leveling a lot. None of the others have any yet, which kind of sucks, but that's the way she goes, I guess.
Khemri can be a bit slow, yeah. It's not like they're going to score a lot of touchdowns, so they gotta really rely on those Kazes.
Yeah, but and that one Tomb Guardian will level up a bit faster than the other ones, and hopefully
that's going to be a hero. Like 2 Mighty Blow really gets you on the blitz or the bash game early on. Khemri, it's really important. You got to really control the pitch, kill people, take them off.
Yeah, now that Blitzer's going to be blitzing every turn, whereas before, like you might consider blitzing with a Tomb Guardian just because you could get 2 or 3 dice. But with the block Mighty Blow, it makes it so much more consistent that you want to do it like all the time. So it's going to be a little bit harder to level those Tomb Guardians than it was before, especially since they're already low. But I mean, that's Khemri. It's going to happen for sure. The Throw Raw has picked up block, which is great because it makes him a bit more safe to carry the ball on.
Yeah, you're not as tempted to carry it on a Blitz Raw that way, which is nice.
And Dirty Player Skeleton. Perfect. Stomp, stomp.
Yep, exactly. It's pretty good for an early team. Like we said, it's unfortunate that the other Tomb Guardians are so barren, but you'll get there. He's doing really well with it anyway, so 3-0.
And we had the Commando Killers go 1-0 over the Chaos Corp. So Commando Killers are the Lizard Men, coached by Volpez and Kulta. The Croxagore has a level pending, so that'll be guard, I guess.
That'll be guard, barring a double. Barring anything, even I think you even take block on a 6 on a plus strength.
This is the team that went Mighty Blow first on the source.
Yeah, and he commented on that. He based on the teams he was facing, he really wanted the ability to keep up in the removal game. I think because of the undead, and just because a lot of these teams are low armor value, the Mighty Blow does a lot of work.
That's true.
Basically, the Mighty Blow does a ton of work against every team other than Orc, who are the only AV9. So. No, it makes sense. It's riskier, but if you know how to play around it, the Mighty Blow first is not.
Yeah, we talked about it last time.
Or ludicrous, yeah. I
Um,
like rehashing. Did he have a dead skink last time?
This was the reason why he hasn't leveled it up is because he played against the Buy Chaos Corp team.
Ah, okay.
As far as I know, yeah.
I don't think Chaos Corp is a buy.
Well, it's he got a concede win over at the Chaos Corp.
Oh right, we did look at that, didn't we?
Yep.
And they gave a concede win the first time, didn't they?
I think so.
Oh, but they've also gotten injuries. They must have played a game. I'm really confused.
They played a game against One Cheese, it seems, in the Skaven, but their other two games were admin wins to their team. So I'm not sure. Maybe they're really busy, can't really commit to it. I'm not sure. It happens.
Yeah, it's strange. So they had a concede win the first game. They played their second, it looks like. Yeah, they played their second game, and then they didn't play their third. Bizarre.
Who knows? See our boys Giant Stags, and Nagaron beats the Nagaron Nut Punchers 3-1. This is the Wood Elf team with the gross catcher, the plus. Oh man, the plus agi catcher. This isn't the gross catcher, right? But it's a gross catcher.
All catchers are gross.
And that he's plus agi. We commented on that last time. And there's a strip ball word answer. This Wood Elf team is the most beaten up Wood Elf team we've seen yet, which is saying something because it only has 2 missed next games.
They're both linemen, which is the dream, really.
Yeah, because who cares?
Wood Elf loners are great. So he's got a dodge lineman. He's going for like the early dodge spam. Makes some in a sense. Well, he's only got one level that isn't already auto dodge, but anyway.
Yeah.
He's got a tackle war dancer
and a strip ball war dancer. So he's doing the Wood Elf. He's going hard into the Wood Elf thing where you use the war dancer to just remove the ball from whoever has it and then go score. And it shows in the fact that his last game was 3-1.
Yep, he's doing really well with it. Really interesting to watch that moving forward now that he's got a little bit of steam going.
Yeah, for sure. The agi, the strip ball, the tackle should be good. And he played against the Nagaron Nut Punchers.
Which are the Dark Elves. They keep accidentally backing into the division.
Yep. Oh yeah, they got beaten up a little bit too, if I recall. They've got a movement busted lineman, an agi busted lineman, which really sucks.
That's a fire.
You can't afford to replace him now, but you probably fire him anyway and just deal with the loner.
Dark Elf linemen are better than loners are better than an agi busted lineman. So
I think I would do that.
I would take the risk for sure.
He's got one. He's got one with wrestle. And one of his blitzers is blodge now, which is good. And the witch elf got plus agi, which is also super good.
Yeah, it makes him much better at like cage diving or anything like that.
The sad part is it's probably going to be a while before he can. Because he only has 2 rerolls. So if he fires like those linemen that are busted, he's going to be dealing with loners for a long time because he probably
doesn't
wants
even
to
have an Apo yet. He's got 50k. Yeah. He's probably going to spend it on the Apo.
Yeah, well, he's going to get the Apo, and then he's going to want to get a team reroll, which is another 100k.
Oh God, no! I'd get blitzers before I get team reroll. You've only got 2 blitzers. Like a Dark Elf team with only 2 blitzers is a pretty sad state.
Yeah, we talked about this last time, and that like he's taken a lot of attrition so far, and it's hard. Like he's got a lot he still needs to buy, which makes it harder to fire those linemen, I guess, because it's going to be super long time before you can replace them, right? Like you still want 2 blitzers, you still want to reroll, but and the loner sucks, but agi 3 sucks worse, I think.
Yeah, no, I'd take the loner all the time.
I'd think about keeping the 5 movement lineman and just stick him on the line as the target to get punched all the time, because at least he's a little more reliable with loner than the one with loner if you really need it.
Yeah,
because you're gonna have a couple loners if you get rid of the other ones, but make him line mate at least.
Exactly.
Bye week for the Irish Monks, but we can look at the Irish Monks. They are coached by Rehab. It's a pro elf team. Nothing.
So Lorcan Torkin, a college grad like us.
Still got nothing. We talked about this last week in that his MVPs were unfortunate and he had not given him levels, because I think most of his games so far have just been Oh, he lost. He lost 2 and won 1, but the one was this bye week, and it didn't go to people who had gotten MVPs already. So he's got 0 development to speak of, but at least none of his important players are dead.
Yeah, I mean, there are worse states for a high pro elf team to be in, rather.
Yep, and
he's
you
really
can
close.
still
Like, you can just vanity pass his way to 5 levels. So.
Yeah. And that's pretty easy to do with Agi4 and pass and catch. Exactly. But pro elves at low TV are still pretty good at scoring and doing elf stuff because Agi4 with pass and Agi4 with catch Nerves of Steel. So it's not the end of the world, but it's a little unfortunate that he's got nothing so far. But next game, he has a pretty significant chance of getting 2 or 3 or 4 levels really easily. I think he lost a catcher, but
based on the fact that he's missing a player, probably lost a catcher.
But he still has a catcher and a thrower and 2 blitzers. So, and the blitzers are the most expensive ones to replace. And he's kept the blitzers. Throwers are pretty expendable. To be fair, they're only 10k more than a lineman, and the linemen are not that expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
The blitzers are the rough ones to replace, and catchers too, I guess. But blitzers more so.
The problem is their positionals are quite expensive. So.
And then we have One Cheese. Oh, the One Cheese and Archangel's Will, the 3/3. So One Cheese, coached by Rex Longbone. Oh, he picked up horns on the Gutter Runner. That's funny. I like it. To make the so now those blitzes are strength 3 when you cage dive with them.
Yeah, I probably would have gone wrestle first, but I guess it's a double, so you take the double. Most people take 2 heads as the standard first double to like dodge into those situations easier. I mean that basically gives you Agi 5 on dodges.
Yeah, you could also take big hands where you can like pick up the ball in tackle zones really easily. But I feel like he wanted to make sure that these ones were his
like a really solid sacker early on.
Yeah, so. He's probably going to build 2 as sackers and 2 as like ball carriers, and he's got 1 with block sidestep already. So that's a ball carrier one. So this guy was probably destined to become a sacker initially, and picked up horns because doubles. Now we can get wrestle, or he could get block. He could get dauntless even.
Yeah, I would probably go wrestle, strip ball, dauntless, maybe tackle before dauntless, probably.
Dauntless might be weird with horns. I don't know which one triggers first, to be fair. Probably the horns, in which case the dauntless won't be as useful.
Yeah, exactly. So it's probably not as useful. I would probably steer away from dauntless then and just go with the wrestle, strip ball, tackle.
Yeah, because he'll still generally be down strength unless you take away those assists, but it could make it 1 dice more often than
with Skaven. It's
dice.
not hard to. You throw the lineman on the cage. That's the standard.
Yep.
The standard play, so.
And it'll be with the horns. You'll make those blitzes 1 dice instead of half dice.
Yeah,
against a standard strength 3 ball carrier.
Exactly, and once you have strip ball tackle, like that helps a lot.
Here's the gross wood elf team.
The Archangel's Will. Yes.
Yeah, that's the nameless catcher. The movement 9 Nerves of Steel catcher. Which is gross.
9, I'm surprised he didn't go sure feed, but I guess he's building him as more of a ball recovery.
Well, he's building him as a catcher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So horns triggers first, as Rex Longbone himself has told us. So it won't. Dauntless won't work really unless it's like a strength 4 ball carrier or something, which is a lot less likely to occur than just a standard strength 3 one. He's going as a straight like catcher, right? He's doing he can with Nerves of Steel, he can catch the ball while in tackle zones, and then just run, right? Like he's also picked up a thrower. That thrower will be able to get eventually accurate strong arm, Nerves of Steel of his own, right? Just hurl, he's going to be pro elves, right? Where you rely on basically 2 players to win you the game, except he'll have 4 players in that he has the word answers too. And yeah, the catcher Nerves of Steel is a double because Nerves of Steel is a passing skill. So that's likely why he got a double, right? So he could get a passing or a strength skill, and why would you get like he could get guard, I guess.
No, I mean I think I would have. I mean I would have strongly considered guard. Having the really mobile guard piece is really nice.
He's already got guard on a lineman though, so you don't have to rely on like the difference between
one guard is not all you want, is what else.
No, like well the difference between 0 guard and 1 guard is huge, and the difference between 1 guard and 2 guard is huge, but with the plus move, like you could have gone either way.
He wants it to be like the Nerves of Steel is a really heavily contested skill.
It's if you're playing it that way, like if you're playing the passing game Wood Elves, it's super good.
Yeah, I mean I can see like Ezrex said like how he would be the most annoying thing. Like if the ball goes loose anywhere, that catcher is just going to get it. Like there's nothing you can do about it. He's movement 9. He's agi 4. Like he's just going.
It doesn't matter for the pickups, right? It's just passes. Yeah, exactly. It's just catches. The Nerves of Steel doesn't affect pickups.
Yes, it does. Doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. It's only it's pass catch, patch catch, intercept.
Pick up ball as well.
No, he's just doing it so he can run that catcher into the end zone, and then people can mark that catcher all they want. They can put 5 tackle zones on him, and you can still hurl it to him, and he still catches it on a 2+, and then dodges out on a 2+ and leaves. Right? Like it doesn't matter how often you mark him; he's just going to leave with that 2+, with that Nerves of Steel, and he can still catch it. It doesn't make it a problem. So you can do that, and then you have the built-in reroll with the catch and the built-in reroll with the pass with the thrower. Yeah, the only thing he's got a strip ball word answer, he's got a sidestep word answer. All he really wants now is those word answers to get better agi for better leaps and another guard on a lineman. And this is already a gross Wood Elf team. That's only gonna make it worse.
Yeah, exactly. You really want to get tackle on one of these. Ideally the strip ball guy, but it looks like the sidestep guy is closer to leveling as he's scoring some touchdowns, I would imagine, or he's getting some MVPs.
Oops.
One of the two.
Backed out of the division again.
You doof.
No, I'm not doof.
You are a doof. You are not the doof.
It's true. So we have the last one was the Snot Knockas and the Chew Toys. So the Snot Knockas was the Orc team, who have some nice blitzer levels so far in that 2 tackle on really well. They also have a thrower, which will be useful against all the Wood Elves with the sure hands. No Black Orcs yet, sadly, or no Black Orc levels.
A bit of SPP, but not a lot. This is an uncommon. Blitzers tend to hog the SPP, especially early on.
The thrower hasn't gotten any touchdowns. Has the thrower played at all yet? That's a good question. He has played 0 matches, so he just picked him up. I wonder if his next game is against Wood Elves.
I backed out of the division as well.
Because that's like you can start with the thrower to make.
He is playing against Wood Elves. Yes.
Yeah, so that's why I bought it. That's basically the only reason you ever own a thrower as Orcs is for sure hands, and you don't need it early unless you're playing against somebody with strip ball or something like Wood Elves probably do. Yeah, a lot of blitzer levels. One of these tackle guys is a Kaz away from getting level 2, which is good. Tackle, piling on, mighty blow, etc., etc. And what was the other team? The last one. It was the Chew Toys. Yeah, the Necro team. Bark has picked up a block. There you go. Now that Werewolf suddenly starts to become a lot more consistent. That's the problem with...
Yeah, early Wolves are a liability until you can score a couple of touchdowns on them. The block is really nice.
Yeah, he scored one last game with him.
He has scored 3 touchdowns total, which makes sense, as he has 9 SPP.
Yep, and now he has blocks, so you can actually start blitzing more frequently with those werewolves, rather than having the whites do everything. Which is good, because one of your whites is already blocked Mighty Blow, and the next one is 1 Kaz away, or 1 pass away, or whatever, from being...
Guard, usually. You want a guard piece with whites. You use the whites as a mobile guard piece, you use the flesh golems as stationary ones.
And then once the werewolves pick up block and can be a bit more consistent, then you can start doing all your blitzing with them instead of with the whites.
I do like that Bone Diddley is the zombie with Dirty Player. I feel like that just seems appropriate somehow. I want to be fouled to death by Bone Diddley.
My favorite is not a zombie.
He has 0 SPP because he refuses to accept who he is as a person.
Yeah, so that's nice. No SPP on Bork, unfortunately, but Bark will be able to carry you a bit now that he's more consistent with the blocks. Cool. And that's the team so far. We'll take a look at the schedule for next week. Bloodstain and Chaos Corp. I'm not sure what's going on with Chaos Corp. I feel like he's played one game and not played another, so it's hard to really say anything about that, to be honest. So I feel like we should just abstain from that prediction until we know what the deal is.
Yeah, I feel like that's not worth talking about, really.
I mean, the Broken Boys versus the Nagarond Nut Punches coming up.
The Negron Nut Punchers are the Broken Dark Elves.
And the Broken Boys are the Khemri.
That's going to be a bit rough for the Dark Elves. You would normally hate to run up against Dark Elves as Khemri because they out-movement you, they have the block to deal with your Blitz Raws, and they can almost out-punch you just because they can dodge away from your only, Strength 5 players and kill all your Armor 7 once.
Yep.
But given how beaten up the Squid's squad is...
and he only has two block as well.
Yes, because he's missing so many blitzers, yeah. And the Khemri have been doing really well. I would absolutely give this to the Khemri.
I mean, I've
really
like...
shown...
If you told me Dark Elves versus Khemri without telling me what's been happening so far, I'd probably pick Dark Elves. But based on Shazelbob's record, how well he's been doing, and how Squid's team is a little beaten up right now, I think I want to go with Khemri.
I'd agree.
Friendship is Massacre is getting a bye, so we can be 100% correct in saying that Friendship is Massacre is going to win.
Yeah. The Gods of Metal and Archangel's Will.
Wood Elves.
The kind of beaten human team versus Wood Elves. So normally humans are pretty good against elves. They have the movement to keep up with them. But against that Wood Elf team with this battered human team, I'd say Wood Elves. Yeah, it's going to be a really tough game for the humans.
Mm-hmm. It's the Wood Elves are so good. The levels they have are so good. And the humans are going to be down a blitzer potentially, which is one of your bonuses there. And this human team is also built to be a throwing team with the two catchers and the accurate thrower, and they're going to get outthrown by the Wood Elves that are also built around throwing. Being down a blitzer is going to make it rough. You have no tackle yet. So that the Nerves of Steel catcher is going to run all over the humans, I think. I fully expect a 2-1, 3-1 type situation again. Maybe a 2-0.
Yeah, I would expect something like a 2-0 result. Yeah.
Komodo Killas and the Chew Toys. So that's Lizards and Necro. The good thing is now it's the totally undeveloped Lizards other than the Mighty Blow. And it's the Necro that now has the block claw, or the block werewolf. So he has block claw.
Yeah, so werewolves are scary for Saurus, but it's really hard to get a reliable Saurus block just because of that strength differential. The block helps.
The block helps a lot.
It does, but getting an assist for a frenzy block on a Saurus isn't always the easiest thing. And the problem with taking a Saurus block with frenzy is that you're usually exposing that werewolf. So it's good. It's going to really come down to who can arrange who has better positioning, who sets up better, who can take advantage of the frenzy, the claw better.
The downside is the Mighty Blow isn't going to really help a whole lot against the Necro.
No, I think it will. I mean, against Armor 8, that turns most of his team into Armor 7, right?
It turns his zombies into Armor 7, I guess.
No, and his white. And
yeah, but then the whites are also block, so you're not going to be blocking them as much. You're not going to. I suppose the whites don't have. There's no guard yet, which makes the Saurus blocks a bit easier because there'll be 2 dice because there's no guard.
So morally, that's the ideal scenario. It's if the Necro team can tie up the Saurus well enough and send their movement 8 werewolves after the skinks, then they can do a lot of work, especially with block.
Yeah.
Who cares if Claw is doing nothing if you're blitzing a skink? So.
Yeah, I want to give it to Necro.
I understand.
The lizards are also not down very much, right? The lizards are still pending a level, so that's another 20k, which puts them at 1060. So they're going to get 40 TV worth of inducements, which is literally nothing.
You'd probably take a babe with your cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think.
He also has 20k to spend though. He has 20k that he needs to trim. So maybe he'll end up with 60. But still.
So I would say that Morley's probably got, it can go either way. It's who gets the early removals. I like that the Necro team has both Mighty Blow
I picked
and
Necro.
the werewolves, did you? Fine, you picked Necro.
What do you pick? Who's
give
right?
I would give it very slightly to the Necro.
Okay.
All right.
Fine.
Are you happy now?
I was hoping you'd say Lizards so that we could have a showdown next week to see who's right.
No, I mean, if I was coaching the Lizards, maybe.
You're playing in a league lower. Like
I know. I'm just being a catty bitch.
You have CR Boys, Giant Stags, and Does Not Knockas. So this is the other Wood Elf team versus the Orc team that has like double that has the blitzers with tackle, right? Hogstench has two tackles, a Mighty Blow, 4 blocks. He's got the
sure hands.
He's got the sure hands.
He's facing the less scary Wood Elf team, or the more battered one, I should say.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's less scary. It actually might be more scary with the Plus Agi Catcher.
The Plus Agi Catcher is it's hard to say.
I would give this to the Orcs simply because those blitzers, like 2 tackle, 3 Mighty Blow, is going to do work.
Mm-hmm. I want to say the same thing, and it's going to be hard for him to score really because he basically has to carry the ball on the thrower because the sure hands War Dancer is such a threat. And throwers are movement 5, so they're really slow. And you need to be careful. If you ever like play a little bit unsafe where your cage is missing a corner or it's out of position by a square or something, the Wood Elves are going to instantly take advantage of that and just strip ball you. Like, or they're just
but I don't think the
you.
Orcs need to play dangerously. That's the nice thing about Orcs versus Wood Elves is you can just like inch up the field two squares a turn and that's fine.
Yeah, you just have to be careful. Is what I'm saying. Like you can't. Some people will play aggressively even though they don't need to because it's their play style. I don't know what Hogstench is like, but he just needs to be careful, I think. If he plays, basically what I'm saying is if he plays safely and doesn't make any like silly mistakes with positioning and stuff, I think he'll win this.
Yeah, I mean, so what's going to happen is at some point during the Orcs drive, the Wood Elves are going to go for a like lineman marking up the cage, into a leap 1-die blitz on the thrower.
Mm-hmm.
But the thrower doesn't have block.
Nope.
So that's a 50% knockdown, but the strip ball does nothing at least. So I mean, I'm not going to work the odds out, but it's not great. So as long as the Orcs are in a position where they can survive that sort of a hit, and like they don't get an unlucky scatter or something like that. So it can come down to how the Elves dice go, but I would give it to the Orcs on average, I'd say.
Yep. If I want to give it to the Orcs as long as the Orcs don't make too many silly plays or too many silly mistakes. I think they'll just out consistency the Elves with the tackle and the Mighty Blow, and they're not as vulnerable to the strip ball with the short hands player, and they can just be slow. If they take it slow up the field, go slowly, blah blah blah. The Elves trying to defend, and they just knock out some Elves at the tackle Mighty Blow, then suddenly the Elves have a harder time.
Yeah, and I mean the Mighty Blow, if it's getting a block a turn, which it won't be, but sometimes it will get a block, and that on armor 6, like you're removing Elves most of the time.
Yep.
It's pretty scary.
Lastly, we have One Cheese with Rex Longbone and Irish Monks with Rehabber, Lorcan, Torkin. I feel like I have to give this to the Skaven based on the 3/3 nonsense that we saw before, mostly, and that Lorcan doesn't have anything yet. Like it's
any development, yeah. So he gets some inducements. Let's see how much actually. So he's only missing 1 player, so he's going to go up to 960. It looks like 960 versus 11. So he gets 200k in inducements. I'm not actually familiar with Pro Elves, but probably a wizard. Maybe there's a star player that's worth it.
It's easy enough to get easy enough to recover the ball with Agi 4, and then if you recover it with the thrower and hurl it. It'd be better if he had like sure hands or something, but that's still only 1 touchdown, right? And with Pro Elves in your armor 7 against the Storm Vermin blocks and stuff, and the wrestle block gutter runners who can have a relatively easy time of removing it from you because your thrower and catcher, if you're not like just throwing and scoring instantly, like you'll have a hard time holding on to the ball unless you hold on to it with a blitzer, I guess. But even then, there's wrestle. So I think that the Skaven are going to have an easier time taking advantage of that.
The only way I could see this going significantly in the Elven Union's favor is if the if like they just get some early removals. Like they're both mostly armor 7. So
There is
down
40k to dump from the Skaven, but that's still 160k over
so that's probably
200k.
a wizard. So that means that at least one gutter runner is probably getting lightning bolted at some point in the game.
But that's still that's one touchdown. And if like my point is that if you do that, you get you lightning bolt a gutter runner, you pick up the ball, you throw it down the field, you score. You've gotten one touchdown. Now the gutter runners can just do it again, and you don't have lightning bolt anymore. And if you don't do that, then the gutter runners will have an easier time getting the ball off you than you have of getting it off them because of the wrestle and stuff.
So I would say that I'd give this to the Skaven, barring some serious knockouts early on. Like if there's some removals on the if the Skavens, whichever team like sustains serious removals is going to have a tougher time as the game goes on, but I would give it to the Skaven most of the time.
I think that Rehab or Lorcan's goal should be to level up 5 players by just making a bunch of Agi 4 passes really quickly. In like turn 1, just pass, turn 2 pass, turn 3 pass, turn 4 pass, turn 5 pass, 5 levels done.
The Archangel is in chat and is confirming that the game against the Skaven that was 3-3 was absolutely stupid, which
totally expected. You mean you didn't have a God Fireball against Elves that just removed a whole bunch of them so you could win easily? Because that's what happened to me when I played Elves last. I played a really good Wood Elf team with like a Strength 4. I had a totally rookie Orc team, 0 skills, and I was playing a Wood Elf team that had an Agi 4 or an Agi 5 War Dancer and a Strength 4 War Dancer. Coached
by Monkey Chunks, who is a really solid Wood Elf coach.
Yeah, and I won 2-0 entirely because I fireballed his catcher, both War Dancers and a lineman at the same time, and all of them got removed.
I don't think they all got removed.
No, well, he
got knocked down and 2 of them got KO'd.
One of them was removed. One of them, the War Dancer got knocked out, and he appoed it into just a stun, and then two of the linemen and like the catcher got knocked out, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
and it was really good. Anyway,
I think that's it for everyone. I've got all the predictions down here.
Yep. The only thing to look at, I guess, is the leaderboard for this division. In that Khemri are currently winning at the top of the division.
Yeah, Khemri and Undead are tied at 3-0. Doing really well.
We predicted the Khemri and the Undead the Undead get a bye this week, don't they?
Yeah, because they're not on my list. So
yes, they do. So they'll both go up to 4-0, which is, one of them will go to 4-0, and we predict the Khemri to go to 4-0. So they'll still be up. We predicted the Skaven to be up, so that would put them at 3-1. So the Khemri and the Undead aren't running away with it yet, but they have a good lead with likely 3 or 4 wins by next week. And sadly, the Dark Elves that got beaten up really hard are just going to have a hard time recovering, and you can tell by their standings. Humans also got beaten up kind of near the bottom.
So it's worth noting, as Morley's pointing out, that he's guaranteed to go 4-0 simply because he hasn't had that bye week yet. So
yep, that's true.
Looking pretty good. We'll see. I really want to watch the inevitable Khemri Undead face-off to see who wins.
When does that happen? Broken Boys and Friendship is Massacre? I want to find that out. Nope. There it is. Week 8.
Well, that'll be a fun one to watch. Maybe we'll stream that.
Yeah, well, I'd love to stream some, but I need to know when they are happening more than like 30 seconds ahead of time. If you tell me, like, once you get it scheduled, just PM me on Discord or PM Shadorra on Discord, and if it's within a reasonable time frame for us, we can stream it, and that's cool. And then we can talk about it a bit better. Yeah, the downside is that some people are PST, and he is EST, and I am AST, which is, so I'm 4 hours ahead of you, morally. Like, it's midnight right now. So late night PST ones are a little hard. Although we can always, if we can find a good chunk of time on a day before stuff gets rolled. The downside is the only time that is really for me is like Saturdays or potentially Sunday like afternoons, because I'm busy Monday and Tuesday nights. We could like just go through some that have already been played and just cast them from the replays.
I just step away for a second.
Well, that's yeah, we could just time frames. I'm busy on Monday and Tuesday. Divisions generally get rolled on Wednesday, so depending on what happens, we can do some casting from replays and stuff on Sunday if a bunch have been played by then. It's always more fun to do it live though. So feel free to PM us on Discord, like, you know, when you get stuff scheduled, or if you had a game that was nuts and you want us to like show it off during the stream, because we're happy to do that. We just need to know ahead of time. Several weeks until the scary bash teams. Yeah, the Khemri team is certainly one cheese. You get a bye week, then you play the humans. Then you get the undead, and then Necro, Wood Elves, then the Orcs. Yeah, you've got a couple games to get there. So you've got a couple games to hopefully get some like Storm Vermin levels, and maybe get the Mighty Blow, the Claw, if you can get lucky, and make the bash teams a little bit easier to deal with. And yeah, it's an interesting division. There's a lot of it's very different than my division, I'll tell you that. There's a lot of dodgy teams, and then there's like three bash teams, but those bash teams are scary bash teams. Like they're doing really well so far, despite being bash teams early against dodgy players, and I think it's just because of how their first matches worked out, you know, buys and stuff. But that's gone. It's interesting to see how this is going to develop. Certainly, yeah. We commented on that, Archangel. However, that's a terrifying blitzer, or terrifying catcher. I mean, the plus movement, nerves of steel, dodge, sprint, like. You can just potato him into the backfield, and people will try to mark him or blitz him or whatever, and it doesn't matter because you can catch in tackle zones, and you can still move from like one end of the field into to the other in 2 turns. That's an absolutely terrifying catcher.
Yep, it's truly terrifying.
Anyway, that's basically everything from us for this week, as far as I am aware of. Once again, feel free to PM either me or Shadorra on Discord when you get your matches scheduled for this week, and we'll try to cast them live if we can, if the times work out. And if we can find a good time that works for both of us, other than Wednesday, obviously, maybe we can cast a couple from replays. But ideally, in that case, we'd like to look at ones that are interesting, because we have only so much time. We can't cover all of them every week. If you let us know if something cool happened, that would also be great.
Yeah, it's really helpful. I mean, it kind of seems like maybe we should have gone through the 3-3 result this week. So I think moving forward, maybe we'll try to cut this review part down a little bit and make space for 1 or 2 reviews of like quick replays, or at least highlights.
Yep, we can always start focusing on like 1 or 2 teams per week, and just maybe go over their game and their team development, and then next week do another team.
I think that makes sense.
We'll see how it works out. We tend to be wordy. We could go through these a lot quicker for sure, but it's fun to talk about them.
Word.
Anyway, so that's it for this week. If you, I do streaming stuff. If you don't normally watch, I stream my minors games. I'm currently playing in the minors. I'm a lowly REBBL coach. I'm playing Nurgle. And I also stream my games for the AD English Chaos Invitational thing, where Shadorra and I are both playing on a team representing REBBL. And you'll often also find me doing stuff like Hearts of Iron or World of Warcraft and other sort of streamy things. So feel free to watch those if you care about things that aren't Blood Bowl.
And yeah, we'll tune in next week to see, I guess, how our predictions go now that we're actually keeping track of them.
I was going to offer you a chance to plug yourself, but you don't do anything other than hang out on my stream, so it would just be plugging my own stream anyway.
I'm just a parasite.
Okay, I'm Steakmittens.
And I'm Shadorra.